Waiter. Darkness, please.
A dark elf ordering in a restaurant is beautiful.
Excuse me, waiter. I asked for chamomile. This is oolong. Can we shut down these lights? I need a little more darkness. Anthony. I asked for crepes. These are pancakes. Could I get more coffee? Black darkness. Toast.
He's gonna burn the toast.
Burnt toast, please. You know. Black darkness.
I can't breathe it.
Hello and welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk, our movie podcast where we give pumps and dumps. My name is Jordan Wonders and I am your chunk.
I'm Doge, and I didn't like this movie enough to think of a quote to tell you that I'm your chunk.
My name is David Blease. And I'm the Dark Hunk.
I think my favorite recurring bit on this show is you being embarrassed about your own nicknames that you come up with.
On the spot.
Yep.
The past 3 times I've been like, freak, we do this still. Okay.
So, this week, we are talking about Thor the Dark World. More like Thor the Fart World.
More like Thor the Dark Turd.
Nice.
More like Thor the what?
That'll work.
Yeah,
cool. That'll work. We'll edit that in post.
You're going to sound so good.
You're gonna sound awesome later. We're gonna put a joke. It's gonna be like more like Thor the.
And then it'll be just
Everything is bad.
like a killer joke that you record later.
Nice.
So, without further ado, let's send it on to Dweez for some snips.
Thor the Dark World begins like 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Sounds like I'm exaggerating. They say 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Before Jotunheim.
During the reign of Odin's father, Bor. And we see him fighting against Malekith, the Dark Elf, and his forces of Dark Elves who are after a powerful relic known as the Ether.
The Ether.
Exactly. Then we flash forward after the Dark Elves are defeated. Flash forward to immediately after the Avengers. Loki is arriving back in Asgard. He's going to go to prison for eternity. And then we're back on Earth now. We're in London. Jane's on a date with a guy who's not Thor, which as the audience, we should feel not psyched about, but we don't really care about Jane.
Speak for yourself.
Love that guy too.
Essentially, they discover that the convergence is happening again. This happened 5,000 years ago, and all the realms aligned. And so it's happening again. Jane is detecting readings on her science equipment that says it's happening again. And she happens to accidentally discover the ether, where it has been hidden for 5,000 years.
Technically, a bunch of rascally little kids discover the ether.
She becomes possessed by the ether. And then Thor goes to Earth to save her because he got worried and clingy because he didn't know where she was for 4 hours. So he goes to Earth, takes her back to Asgard. The Asgardian healers try to extract the ether from her. Odin says you're not allowed to do that to her. Thor's mom, for whatever reason, decides to defend Jane, sacrifices herself for Jane. Frigga dies.
She's a
in this
good
movie.
mom. What do you mean for whatever reason?
And then with Loki's help, Thor and his companions smuggle Jane off of Asgard onto the Dark World, the planet where the elves were defeated the first time. They try to destroy the ether at the moment that Malekith extracts it from Jane. They fail. Loki is presumed dead. And then they go back to Earth. They happen to find a shortcut that takes them exactly to the right place that they need to be on Earth.
Weird.
Yeah, it's crazy. They go back to Earth. Malekith also comes back to Earth. They fight. There's a big swirly ether battle. And this whole movie is very boring.
Yeah.
And we closed with Loki Not dead, actually alive. A recurring trick that he loves to pull.
Sure.
On the throne.
On the throne, disguised as Loki.
Odin.
Yep. What did I say?
Disguised as himself.
He is. He's disguised as
Hidden
Loki.
in plain
disguised
sight, you may say.
is the best disguise one's own self. Yeah, that's
Where's Loki? That's Loki, so it can't be Loki.
I do
Thor the
that.
Dark Turd. That was this movie.
The fart world.
Who directed this?
I don't remember his name. He's done other things. He directed several episodes of season 2 of Game of Thrones.
Might as well be David Ayer for all I care.
And then he went on from this to direct the seminal cinematic masterpiece Terminator Genesis. And
The cult classic.
yeah. So a man of immense talent.
Got it.
Oh, this movie.
I have so many questions about this movie.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So,
First of all, Thor can fly. He's a hammer. That's just a tool. It's not a weapon.
here's my first question. If Anthony Hopkins doesn't narrate history, did it happen?
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a good point. I do actually want to pump on that opening voiceover from Anthony Hopkins.
Dude, Anthony Hopkins can voice over anything.
it's
and
real
I'm
great.
100% in.
Yeah.
So he narrates this thing that's like 5,000 years old. I feel like the plot of this movie was, let's do a Thor movie in Asgard.
Yeah.
So basically half of they were just like the worst half of Thor 1, like the most boring part of the first Thor movie. Let's do that for a whole movie.
I disagree. I think the Earth stuff was so boring in Thor 1. I'm way more, at least conceptually, on board with the idea of a wholly like Asgard-based Thor movie.
Fish out of water is so interesting though.
I just feel like with Iron Man 3 and now Thor 2, I felt like I knew exactly what the original pitch was. It was just very simple. It's like Iron Man, take him out of the suit. He's got to be on his own. Thor 2, Asgard. And let's throw Loki in there. They love it. How? We'll figure out a way.
Figure it out. Yeah.
So reportedly, Loki was not in original drafts of this movie, which is bizarre
I
to me.
don't buy it. Who's your source?
He's just like, sorry, Kevin, gotta go. What?
Other question. Since when can you see the 9 realms?
Yeah. And
only
when were
on
they
the
small
Convergence?
enough? When were they small enough to layer up like a cake?
No. Okay, they're different dimensions. They're superimposed on top of one another. This is like, you remember in Interstellar when he's in the Tesseract, and it's like
I
on top of each
understand
other.
what happened, but when they line up, they're all like the size of like a football field.
That's not the whole realm. That's just the portal into the
I
realm.
get that.
That wasn't clear to me then.
Right. No, they didn't explain it at all.
No, I
It's-
got the window into the realm. My question is, have we ever been able to see the realms?
No.
But you can at the convergence. That's the thing, is like you can't.
But then
normally-
they passed each other.
You can at the convergence. Yeah.
pass
and then
each
they
other.
fade out because that's what they're saying at Greenwich, at the point of the convergence, the walls between worlds are thin, is what they say. And so you can see them there. And then as the walls, I'm not saying it makes sense or that it's a good idea for your
Stop
story.
Why are
defending
you
them.
defending this? Why do you love it so much?
Other question. Are we ever going to figure out why Earth is like the only planet, the only realm that knows nothing?
Because we're a bunch of big dum-dums.
Apparently, but I feel like there's like a plot to like keep Earth pure.
I was noticing.
Oh, sorry. I
you
just didn't want to
finished?
jump into something.
Because we get to Guardians of the Galaxy and like there's thousands of planets
Yeah.
and they all know about each other, and Earth just like, we're all alone in this big blue world. And then it's the same thing with Midgard. There's like the 9 realms, and we're like, huh? 9?
So
We're the only one that doesn't know what the heck's going on.
well, Earth is the only one that appears to have any sort of like cultural civilization past like 1300, because you've got
Whoa, but what about like, what's the planet from Guardians that they land on?
No, he's talking about realms,
that's not
planets.
that's not a planet. So that's the thing. The realms aren't planets. Technically, Guardians of the Galaxy takes place in Midgard. That's our
So Midgard is just like the whole universe?
Midgard is our dimension.
But that and I hear where you're coming from, but that cannot be.
Why?
Because they specifically say that Midgard refers to Earth. They specifically say that.
Yeah, realms and planets combined makes no sense to me.
And in
The world's getting too big, Mom.
Ragnarok, this is weird, but in Ragnarok, I know we're jumping ahead, they specifically refer to Asgard as a planet. Like a flat planet. They say they're going to destroy the whole planet.
How are there 9 realms?
There's way more than 9 realms. Odin stopped at conquering 9. There's way more than 9 realms.
So are realms and planets indistinguishable as far as.
I don't know.
So if I got in a rocket and blasted off, if Elon Musk helped me blast off right now,
sure,
I could fly to Jotunheim?
I think theoretically, yes.
That's not at all the way that I've understood this.
But I think the situation is that Jotunheim and Asgard and like a lot of the realms are so far away that there's no like space travel that's going to get us there.
The Bifrost isn't interdimensional travel. The Bifrost is a wormhole.
Well, that's what they talk about. It's an Einstein-Rosen bridge, which is essentially a wormhole. That's the whole thing.
I've always understood that it was different. Anyway, we're getting super bogged down in the geographical layout.
But I feel like it's important for Thor specifically to understand these realms because
I felt like the simple answer is they set up the 9 realms as that was it.
And then later on, they're like, maybe not though.
And then they're like, well,
because 100% they talk about how Odin stopped at 9 realms and could have conquered the universe.
Oh, really? Where did they say that?
I hate to jump ahead again, but I just watched Ragnarok.
I'm really interested to watch Ragnarok and see how that, because at the time that I saw it, I'd only seen both Thor movies one time.
Yeah.
Because I'm interested to see how that reconciles with
I'm okay
my
with that
understanding.
If they throw that in.
Because that's like a big deal in Ragnarok.
It's a big Band-Aid. You got to cover it up.
Yeah.
We could have conquered them all, but Odin only had the stomach to conquer 9 and decided to stop there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can we dump on Borg real quick? That's his name, right?
Odin's father, Bor.
Yeah, Bor. Is it Bor or Borg? Bor. I thought he was terrible. I know he has like one line.
Maybe I don't even remember him.
He's the one with like the elephant trunk, and he was like, "Bury it deep, where no one will ever find it."
Yeah,
it was terrible.
Yeah,
I don't know where they found this dude.
Not good. And also, can we talk about how that entire scene was a direct copy of the Battle of Mordor?
Yeah.
Like direct.
Yeah.
I feel like something else they did is in that flashback scene, they gave all of Asgard soldiers those like electric weapons.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we got to put that in Asgard now or else that's going to make no sense. So then there's like flash forward to Asgard and they're training with those electric things. They're like, we just found these again.
I actually am going to pump. Guys, it honestly is my super pump.
What?
Whoa.
The Asgardian technology in this and the way that their ships and stuff look like Viking longboats and just like the
cool.
kind of overall vision of Asgard as like intensely medieval, but also alien in future. I'm really, really into that. I think that works really well in this movie. And I think it works even better in Ragnarok.
Yeah. I think it's very cool. But I think that electric weapons and stuff like that is the wrong direction for it. I just think that this movie takes a lot of cool concepts and then just kind of doesn't know what to do with them.
I'm specifically thinking of their like turret guns and their ships.
No, their ships are
awesome. Are cool.
Their ships are very dope.
I don't really care so much for their electric swords.
To me, it's a consistency thing. It's like you can't introduce these things now into their history.
Yeah.
And then try to bring them in the present. Last question. Rainbow Bridge. Fixed.
Yeah, repaired off screen between the events of the Avengers and Thor 2 The Dark World.
Yeah, super quick.
Which made me think Loki's last line in Thor 1 shouldn't have been, but you'll never see her again. It should have been like, no,
it's going to be a few months.
You won't see her for months. And he was like, I'm sorry, Jane. And then he hit the Rainbow Bridge and they're like, dude, we'll fix it. Like, we have insurance. You're fine.
And I feel like it also should be like, you won't see her for months by using the bridge. But the Tesseract and several other methods still exist.
In places I only know about.
But also Dad. Dad knows. And he can get you there.
But he has to have a lot of dark magic.
Did you say dark?
So I think we're uncovering what has proven to be the biggest problem with this movie, I think, for all of us.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that it's all over the place.
Oh, my goodness.
This is Thor 2, The Dark World, full of a whole bunch of things.
It's just so inconsistent, just not only with tone, but with like story beats and with just so many different things, honestly.
Yeah, and my struggle is, did we need another solo Thor movie?
No. At that point, no.
At that point, I'm not sure if we did, but they were trying to ramp up for A2.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to give some more character development to Cap, which was needed for sure. Iron Man, which you could probably argue wasn't super needed, but everyone wanted to see it. Thor, I felt like if they would have done more of a Ragnarok, that could have really boosted his his popularity and
I think
his
they still
character.
had no idea what to do with Thor at this
didn't.
point, though, because this is literally just Lord of the Rings and Star Wars Venn diagram.
Yeah. I felt like they really pushed it out.
So talk us through a little bit of this train wreck.
I mean, we're introduced to the Dark Elves, and the Dark Elves, did they create the ether?
I think they discovered.
They
it.
discovered
The
it.
ether, and then
Yeah.
I was confused why when the ether was buried, where no one will find it, and it was found really easily.
Yeah.
When it was
For
found,
the dark world.
why it woke them up. Like it was like their power came from that.
I think they were
no.
sleeping until it was found. Like I don't think it woke them up. I think the discovery woke them up. Does that make sense?
Well, how did they wake up then?
I'm guessing their ship had like an alarm.
An ether alarm?
I think their ship was literally just like, hey, it just turned on, and then they were like, oh, okay, let's go. That's how I interpret it was the ether was discovered, and their ship was like, hey, we're getting signal from the ether, and they're like, oh, we know where it is. Let's go get it.
That could have been a 20-second scene. That would have answered at least that note of confusion.
Yeah.
See, I didn't need it. That's how I interpreted it easily.
I didn't get it.
Yeah,
Really?
I didn't either.
No.
I did not either.
Weird.
Because it was like, wait, so is that the source of their power? Does that mean if the ether is destroyed, they're destroyed? Did they just find it and tap into it, and now they're like addicted to it and they can't live without
Now,
it?
I don't fully understand what the ether does. That's where I've landed.
It's the
on
reality
ether.
gem. I know that.
Yeah, but like,
But I don't,
what
so,
does it do?
Well,
You know.
here's what I think it does. In this movie, it can transform into the whole universe into eternal darkness.
Did you say darkness?
This is the Martha joke, just in a
Oh
new
yeah,
form.
oh yeah, 100%.
So I'm assuming that that's an alternate reality, almost as if the reality gem can
So
change
like
the
the
reality.
upside down.
Not that there's two realities then, but it can change reality.
It just seems, and this kind of perpetuates a problem with the, really, I guess it's just this Infinity Stone and skipping ahead to Guardians.
I feel like even the Mind Stone, they're just like, it can kind of do whatever.
Yeah, it just has blasts of energy. There's no functional difference between these Infinity Stones.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know why this one's liquid, but that's okay.
Yeah, you know.
I get on board with that.
You know.
So Jane finds the ether while studying in London, and
Sorry, we keep taking credit away from where credit is due. It's a ragtag group of British orphans.
Yeah, that's true.
That stumble across the ether, and they throw stuff in it
yep.
for fun.
And the ether, Jane tries to touch it, and it basically, like you said, possesses her.
Yeah.
And why?
Well, here's my thing.
And does it do that?
Yeah, for real.
I was waiting for it to. I wanted this to be like Jean Grey
Like Dark
becoming
Phoenix?
the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Where I wanted her to be evil.
Yeah.
I wanted her to switch.
At least it would give Natalie Portman something to do in
And
this
she's a good
franchise.
actor, so she could do it.
She is a great actress. Yeah.
And when her eyes turned black, I was like, "Oh shoot, she's about to get evil."
Yeah.
And Thor's gonna have to like fight her.
And instead, she was just like, "I'm sleepy."
No, and she was just like, "Malekith's here." And I was like, "So her eyes show her where Malekith is? That's not fun."
Yeah.
She had nothing to do in this movie.
She had even less to do in this movie than she did in the first
So I'm
one.
gonna throw out my super dump. Natalie Portman's character in this movie is my super dump. And here's what I've been thinking about. Because you guys talked about it in Thor 1.
Yep.
And I think that you were subconsciously bringing in Thor 2. Because I thought in Thor 1, she had a little bit more of a character. I think she was a scientist that used Thor as the opportunity to discover the missing link in her research. And he has answers. Now, the fact that he was super hot didn't hurt. And they ended up falling for each other. And sharing a kiss at the end. And I think you could say that they're like maybe going to start a relationship if it would have continued. When Thor 2 picks up, she cannot live her life without Thor.
Yeah.
And that's where I super dump. Because in the first one, I was like, yeah, it's been 3 days, but she really has a goal. And her goal is to find her research and finish her research. In this, she can't do anything without Thor.
No.
And every line she had was something like, "You told your mom about me? You told your dad about me? Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
you were
she
missing?"
just became like,
She became just literally her title was just girlfriend.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thor's girlfriend. She's no brains. She
had
has
no
no
agency.
motivation. She wanted to be with Thor.
Yeah.
And at your point of Thor 1, it was 3 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he left her, and so she should have just moved on.
So interesting. Natalie Portman reportedly did not want to be in this movie, but was locked in for a contract. The thing that got her excited about this movie was that Patty Jenkins, who directed Monster, later would go on to direct Wonder Woman, was originally slated to direct this and left the project over creative differences. Natalie Portman tried to get out whenever Patty Jenkins left, and Marvel said,
great.
"No, you're contracted in."
Because here's the other thing: he should be with Sif.
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely.
I do not know what he sees in Jane, other than something maybe he can't have and he wants it. But Sif is like perfect for him, and they'll live long together. And she's been with him since his youth. And she's a warrior.
They share the same cultural values.
Yes.
That's such a huge thing. I don't think Thor and Jane could ever work, because like Thor can go to Earth and pretend to be like Earth Thor for like a little bit, but Thor's Asgardian, like all the way through, culturally, heritage, like everything.
To be fair, that is a pretty major plot point.
Sif? Yeah, well, I wouldn't say major.
Let me back it off. Yeah, I was going to say it's more like...
It's nodded to.
Yeah, it's alluded to the fact that everybody kind of thinks he should be with Sif instead.
It seems that one of the 8 credited writers on this movie wanted that to be a major plot point.
Was
and
just
then
like,
the other 7 were just like, no, what if it was Lord of the Rings? And then one of them was like, no, what if it was Star Wars? And there was like, no, what if Natalie Portman was just dumb hot?
And then someone was like, what if it was John Carter?
So
and they said, what?
That just brings me, my super dump for this movie is just the organization. Like everything about this movie, it's just like, where should this scene go? I don't know. Just do. We need the fight at the end, and we need.
I feel like they work from the middle out.
Yeah, man. Like it literally felt like they were just like, okay, make sure that the big fight happens at the end, and the friendship happens at the beginning, and then pretty much just throw everything.
Dude,
together.
I think they did start from the middle. I think they started with, okay, Loki and Thor team up.
Yeah,
and they were like, okay, how do we get there?
How do we get there, and where do we go from there?
Mom dies.
Yep.
But we don't know her mom. Intro the mom and how cool and loving she is. And then what happens after? Loki dies, obviously. Like they literally worked from the middle.
I think you're
really
right.
think they did. I think the movie was initially conceived on the Dark World planet.
In the climax.
In the very middle. Yeah.
Like, what if we got here? No, let's do this.
Let's figure out how to climb down this mountain.
Every good movie starts at the top of the mountain.
Oh man.
So I wish that Jane would have been a villain. I think that would have made this movie at least somewhat.
This is also our
better.
second in a row Marvel movie where the female love interest gains powers for a brief period of time.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And the other thing in the comics, when Thor falls in love with Jane, Jane does a eternal challenge to see if she can gain immortality to be with Thor, and she fails, and he ends up with Sif. We should have done that.
Yep.
Honestly, I have other reasons for being glad that he is not really so much with either of them at our point in the MCU where we are currently.
For sure. I don't think he needs a love interest.
Well, if he does, I want it to be somebody who we haven't met at the point that we're currently talking about. So
You want it to be the Ragnarok girl?
yeah.
I think Thor's pretty interesting to watch as just a character and
Completely agreed.
not having a love interest.
Absolutely
I think
agreed.
he's more compelling as just a solo.
Completely
Absolutely.
agreed. But if he's gonna have a love interest,
gonna have
at least it's somebody who's like hardcore. Anyway,
So as Jane's discovering this thing, can I just do one really nitpicky dump?
Yeah.
that's basically the only thing we do on this show. So
welcome to
yeah,
Two
I would
Chunks
say
This is a
Hunk, David.
really small one. Okay, so you know when
there's a
when
strand of hair. Or,
they're dropping the bottle and it goes.
yeah, it should be going faster.
Okay, 1, it should be going faster. 2, then the kid catches it and he's like, "See?" And I was like, the portal is in the middle of the freaking room.
And you reach out that far without falling. Yeah.
It just, they literally, it was like, and they go to Jane's face, and then you hear, and then he's got the bottle in his hand. He's like, Pepsi.
I think in the script it was just kid throws bottle falls forever, kid catches bottle, and they're on set shooting that going, how is that gonna work?
Like,
We'll just have him catch it off camera. Just show Jane.
that was the answer to this movie.
Yep.
Do it off camera.
Do it off camera. Guys,
Even for Loki, when he's like shape changing and stuff into everybody,
all off screen.
it's all off screen.
so
It's all
true.
covered by the pillars when they're walking.
Thor: The Dark World covered off camera.
Exactly.
And-
you got it.
we forgot the most important dump of this movie. Thor: The Dark World.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Darcy.
Dude, I didn't hate her in the first one. I didn't love her, but I definitely didn't hate her. I hate Darcy in this movie.
Yeah, and she became like mean and like terrible.
What's that actress name? Kat Dennings.
I almost said Williams.
Yep.
Cat Williams. I'd watch that movie. He probably has a place in Ragnarok somewhere.
Oh man.
It seems like she didn't care about this at all.
I would put money that is true.
I have no idea. I've not seen her in anything else. I'm tangentially aware at least of her sitcom that she's in, Two Broke Girls, right?
Yeah, she's in that, and then she's in the 40-Year-Old Virgin. She's the daughter.
Is she a bad actress, or is she?
She's
literally,
not a what's it called? Good one.
Is she just?
Wasn't she in that Michael Cera
sleepwalking
movie,
through
the
this?
one where they are discovering music together through the city? You guys ever see that one?
Did you just make that up?
What? Are you pitching? Is this a pitch right now?
So I have this idea for a Michael Cera movie. No, it's where they're like trying to discover this
Infinite
band.
Playlist.
Yes.
Whatever it's called.
It's like Sam Chaney's Infinite Playlist. It's like his
Exactly.
name, you know what I'm talking about?
Sam Chaney's Infinite Playlist.
Isn't
Our
that-
favorite movie.
Isn't that Kristen Stewart?
Sam
Yes.
Chaney?
No. Isn't it Kristen Stewart in that
I don't
movie?
think so.
Are you sure? Because Kristen Stewart is essentially just shrunk down cat.
Yeah.
It's like if Kat never smiled.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, she's in this movie,
Yeah.
and it somehow still manages to be the most irritating thing about a movie full of irritating
Yeah.
things for me.
Yeah.
And I feel like if there's another thing that we could context this movie by saying is film it off camera, and that worked out nicely.
Yeah.
There are so many times where I was like, wait, what? So again, the Rainbow Road gets fixed. That worked out nicely. Second, they need to escape off of Asgard, and basically worthy of treason, they have to go against Odin's wishes to stay on Asgard and let the Dark Elves come. Thor says, we got to get off planet because they could be over us right now. We would have no way of knowing. Let's draw them back to the Dark Planet. So
Dark World.
Idris Elba,
Yep.
Who's
Heimdall,
great?
he's great in anything you put him
Idris,
in.
you need a different agent, man. You can't be in Thor: The Dark World.
But he can be
Too
in
good
Thor
for this.
Ragnarok.
He
Sure
could be in
can.
Thor Ragnarok.
Ugh.
Idris
But
is too good for this movie.
he basically says we have to get off world, and there's only one way to do it. There are passages that only few know about, and then Thor says only one, and they go to Loki. We're kind of skipping over.
must be truly desperate.
Yep.
Kind of skipping over the big crux in this movie that kind of makes the plot go for them. The one that they worked backwards for, which was Frigga Dies.
Yeah.
Frigga goes to see Loki in her cell, and she says, "Am I not your mother?" And he says, "No." And then she says something that kind of touches his heart a little bit. You're always so assuming of everyone but yourself.
Yeah.
And then you see that she kind of disappears, and so you can assume that she got that power from.
Loki learned his magic.
Lurky learn that power from
Loki learned it
So,
from Frigga.
but the other thing that holds up if Frigga's his actual mom. That doesn't really hold up.
That's assuming that magic is hereditary.
I don't think it's actual magic.
So why
I think
doesn't
it's just
Thor do it?
technology.
That's a great question.
Because Thor is dumb. I think we're presented in this movie with like
Thor's just a jock.
I think even
Yeah.
moving forward from here, and I think that's great. I think that's what is so funny about it.
Thor is dumb.
I struggle with that because I think that the writers genuinely forgot that he was adopted
No, I think so too.
Yeah.
and learned it from her.
I don't think they forgot. I think it was just lazy. I think
Because
they were just
later
like,
on he says,
what's
"I'm
worse?"
Loki of Jotunheim."
I know. I love that. I like that they put that in there. At
Actually,
least.
I hate that.
I know you hate the plot, but I'm glad that they said it. So it wasn't completely
That
abandoned.
actually brings me to a great point. I need to make a public apology because in our Thor episode, I said that him being part frost giant or a frost giant never comes back. I was wrong. It does come back quite often. It just doesn't affect anything. It doesn't matter at all.
Important. Yeah.
So I guess, sorry for saying it didn't come back. It does. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, it doesn't change the whole
Yeah,
plot
yeah.
of the
And
movie.
like his power, it's just like, yeah, he's an illusionist. He just like does tricks. Isn't that great? His mom does too. But she's not his mom. But she just taught him. But she didn't teach anybody else. even though that could be really useful to a lot of people.
She's been very selective in who she teaches.
Maybe she tried to teach Thor and he was too dumb. Thor's an idiot. Thor's plan for flying the ship out of Asgard was literally to punch every single button on the control panel.
That's true. That was funny. It's like, I'm pressing, it's not working. I liked it.
His plan was literally punch the ship until it does what I want it to do.
And it worked. Because he's Thor.
Well, because everything in this movie worked.
Yeah,
this whole movie was just like, let's see what happens. Well, that was nice.
And that's actually going to be my super dump.
Oh,
You started to talk about it a second ago.
Look at you.
There are so many coincidences in this movie. And like in a story, coincidi. In a story, like you have to have a fair amount of them. Otherwise your story doesn't happen, but they have to feel necessary and have to feel like this makes sense that this is a logical result of these actions and these scenarios.
Yeah.
This is totally a crapshoot where it's like Loki just happens to take him through a portal that happens to put him on the exact right planet at the same time that the Dark Elves happen to be arriving there. And then they happen to wander into a cave that happens to lead them right back to the exact same spot that the convergence happens to be happening.
Yep.
Seriously.
It's ridiculous.
Well, this whole movie hinges on happenstance.
Yep.
Well,
You're absolutely right.
And that was so hard for me saying, how are they going to get back to the Dark World?
The way that you get to the Dark World is similar to the way that you get to Neverland. You just sprinkle some dust and go, please, and then you're there.
I hope this works. I hope this works.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing where Thor was like, Loki, you're mad. And he was like, if it was easy, brother, everyone would do it. And you're like, so he's gone to the Dark World before? Like that's how he gets places.
Not
is through
only
the
that,
Dark
but
World?
it's just like, so whenever you do this, you ram a ship down a little crevice.
And it had to be that ship. Like it had to be a ship that size.
Well, the other thing that I think about in those moments when it's like the hero is, if any other time, if a ship was going to crash, Thor's grabbing Jane and diving off the boat and like saving them both. But in this one instance, he's like, we're going to crash. Ah! It's like, dog, you fly, man. Like jump off, fly through that yourself.
Well, the other thing is he made it seem like, so Thor didn't know where this passage was.
Sure.
And Loki had no say in what ship we're doing, where we're going.
Could have been a ship that
worked
was
out
too
well.
big.
Could have been a ship that was way too big.
To be fair, the original ship was too big.
So this just worked out so nicely.
And even in the one moment where they tried to bring some awareness to like, we know that this is kind of stupid, when Loki's like, you picked the biggest ship in the world to try and sneak away. It was still just like, yeah, we did.
we
Keep flying.
No, they did that on purpose to be a decoy, like when they jumped out of it.
No, I know. But even at that moment, like it was just like,
Yeah.
okay.
I have trouble believing that Thor came up with that plan all by himself.
I think that Thor is shown to be a lot smarter than just stupid idiot punch everything. I would say that maybe under pressure, he kind of reverts back to stupid idiot punch everything.
Okay.
But I would even say, particularly in this movie, they are very reductive to Thor's character.
Yes.
Because even outside of this, in Ultron and Avengers, even in the first Thor, and especially, we keep going back to Ragnarok, but that's just because it's
It's
that
the only good Thor movie.
And boy, is it. But they show him to have multiple dimensions. They show him to be a lot more, I
Are
think.
they dimensions or realms?
A great question.
Worlds.
So the Bifrost of Thor laser beams through his heart and passes through many things. Love, tenderness, anger, frustration. Anyway, that's a bad joke. But where it's taken us is, I think that this movie, for some reason, the writers were just like, hey, what if we wrote Thor into this movie about Thor, but it was just not really Thor? And everybody was like, yeah, I can. Is it lunch yet?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened though. I mentioned earlier, there's 8 credited writers on this. And granted, 3 of them are Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Larry Lieber, who are like, that's essentially a created by credit. But that still leaves 5 other writers that have all had a hand in essentially designing this movie by committee.
Yeah.
And they kind of made a camel. Like it just doesn't work at all.
Yeah. Well, and we passed my super pump, which is where Thor goes to Loki in the cell and he's like, have you come to gloat, to mock? And he's like, enough games. And Loki disappears and you see him in his actual state. Great touch. Loved that.
Yeah.
Loved Tom Hiddleston. Thought he killed
he's
it.
great. I think that goes without saying.
Yeah, and I didn't hate his love for his mom and that being the driving factor. Even though we've dumped on the love for moms being driving factors in movies for a while now. I didn't think it was developed enough. I definitely think it was, like we said, it was they were working backwards, so they felt like they had to give you some shots with the mom so that you would feel for her. But I was okay with bringing them together and having that be the driving force. And I love that Loki was a mess after losing his mom, like the one person that,
I like that too.
he loved,
Yeah.
or that you could argue still loved him. Like she still showed the love and compassion for him, even though
I agree that it was underdeveloped. I think it is a cool touch to make Loki. It kind of quote unquote humanizes him or Asgardianizes him, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, they really did humanize him a lot in this movie, though. Yeah. And I really bought the relationship between him and Thor.
Yep.
When they're on, the best part of this movie is the middle part, the part that we feel like they actually cared about when they were writing this. Like where they're on the planet together and Thor, he talks about every time we fought, like, I always hoped that my brother was still in there. Yeah. Like, I totally buy that. And I love that. And that's super compelling. And it's only happening right there. Like we lose that thread before and after that moment.
And I love when he says, I don't even trust you. And he says, trust my rage.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, heck yeah.
That's good.
It's the middle part is, the middle part was thought through.
And then it's just kind of like a garbage fight scene.
Oh, the end fight scene with Malekith.
It's so boring.
Well, so
Ooh, I can't believe I'm honestly going to pump on how cool Curse looks.
We haven't even talked about Curse
I know.
yet.
I completely forgot about that. Curse is the dark elf that gets the gem pushed inside of him and becomes the big like demon warrior thing. We haven't even brought up Curse yet.
It's almost like he doesn't fit in this narrative.
He doesn't make sense to be here, kind of, but he looks, just specifically, I'm talking about like his character design and like how like kind of scary he is.
Yeah, he's very scary.
Awesome.
It kind of looks like the Predator to me.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think it's because of his like mandibles.
Yeah, but they don't open though, and so I think that's part of it. But like, he's
scary.
He's very scary and
he's
like
intimidating. When he looked at Loki in the cell, I was like, I would not look at him. I'd be like, you're good.
Yeah,
It's okay.
just go and walk on by.
Okay.
But like, he looks so cool. He's so scary. I'm very into Curse.
Yeah.
Can we dump on the Justice League level CGI of the Dark World?
Yeah, 100%.
Dude, whenever so Jane had like that vision or whatever, and everything turned red. It looked exactly like the end of Justice League.
Yep.
That
Like
whole
so
planet
much.
was
everything was
just CGI.
Red shifted. It wasn't even like a red filter put over. It's like they literally, when they were color grading this image, just killed the blue channel and killed the green channel and left the red at 100%.
Yep.
And the other thing, this is again a nitpicky dump, but it made no sense to me in the story, is Malekith absorbs the ether and goes, and he gets the ether in him. He's like, now I have the power of, again, an infinity stone. One of the most powerful relics in the entire universe. And he's like, walks away. Goes back to his ship to do God knows what.
Yeah. Odin knows what. But yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And leaves Thor with like 5 henchmen. What?
Yeah.
Why on earth? He has the power of an infinity stone. He should just be like, and kill him and then go do his thing.
Henchie's gonna do what Henchie's gonna do.
Henchie's gonna hench, dude.
Henchie's gonna hench. Baddie's gonna bad, dude. That's how it goes.
I hated it. It made no sense.
More like Thor the Dork World. Am I right?
That was a good one.
Yeah,
Get
it's
out.
stupid. It's very stupid. While we're on this, on the Dark World, we've come to our new favorite segment of this show, the Phase 2 Goodbye Hand segment.
Yeah.
Thor loses his hand on this. The illusion of Thor loses his hand.
Yep.
So Loki's plan is to create a fake Thor and a fake
did
Loki.
notice it this time.
Yeah. So Loki creates a fake Thor and a fake Loki who have a fake fight in front of Malekith to trick him into getting the ether out of Jane, which he would have done anyway had they just left Jane there as bait.
Do you think Jane was in on that plan?
No.
No.
You think she was genuinely?
She was too busy laying on the
Afraid.
boat and being like,
No, I think she was genuinely afraid.
nice.
Guys.
Because
Jeez, dude, are you kidding me?
I was okay
What?
with that twist because I was confused on whether Loki was actually betraying Thor
Yeah.
or if it was all part of
I liked
the plan.
it because that twist worked because it's in the part of the movie that they cared about.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
So
So that was our first goodbye hand moment. But then later on in the way too long final fight scene,
gosh.
Malekith loses both of his arms. They get teleported. That final fight scene is just kind of a mess. Like Thor has to retrieve the big spears that Selvig has been making.
Which I didn't like that.
It's set up like a video game boss fight.
It
It's like
really
gather your
is.
equipment and
really
wait for the
is.
right round. Like
Yep.
it's so bad.
Well,
Throw
and-
one at him. Oh, he loses an arm now, but he has a new power now. It very much
And
was like
something about bringing Selvig in to save the day with his science seemed very poorly thought out.
I hate what they did to his character.
yeah. I loved him in Thor 1.
He's such a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
He brings so much to the table. And in this one, they were just like, what if we put him in his underwear a bunch and made him real goofy?
yeah.
And but except for that, it didn't land to me.
I was okay with it because I felt like he had been under the mind control for so long
It
that
made
his
him crazy.
His mind was literally
I'm with
crazy.
you, but there's just so much to him that making him
Yeah.
just like
I was fine with it. I love
Aliens
when
was
he was
like-
explaining at the nursing
was
home.
good.
He's like, they converge.
Stan,
Any questions?
Can I have my shoe back now?
my shoe back.
Yeah, I loved that one.
That was a pretty good Stan Lee. That was a pretty good Stan Lee. Do it again.
Can I get my? I can't do it now.
You can do it. Come on.
Can I get my shoe back?
You were good until you said back. Just say, "Can I get my shoe?"
Can I get my shoe?
Yeah. Well.
Can I get my?
You're
Can
going-
I get?
You're getting more New York.
Can I?
Hey,
Can.
hey, can I get my pizza? Can I get my shoe back?
Can I get my pizza?
Can I get my two back?
Excuse me, guys. My name's Stanley. Can I get my shoe back, please?
So
It's also similarly. That's my Ben Mendelsohn impression too. Can we get some girls in here? Dark Knight Rises.
Maybe girls are coming. Why do you always think girls are coming? No girls are coming. Sorry.
So
We can get that.
the end of this movie.
Yep.
They defeat Malekith.
Who cares?
Using Selvig's technology.
Woo.
And the power of electricity.
Everybody goes back to normal.
Yeah.
Nothing matters. Loki's Odin. Roll credits.
Yep. So that is the final reveal,
And we're the
the
event-
only reason that this movie is worth watching.
Yep.
Well, and I think, and this is a common question that the average viewer goer.
Viewer goer.
You're a goer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Moober goober. Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
the average mover goober is going to ask, which is where are the Avengers?
Sure. That's every solo movie except for Cap though.
No, don't think
Because
about it.
Cap movies are pretty much Avenger movies.
No, but it happens in Winter Soldier. But they tried to reconcile by saying that happened in like a 2-day period, so there wasn't enough time. Which don't buy really.
I mean, to be fair, the Dark World, the only time that we see Malekith on Earth wrecking stuff is
That last fight scene.
maybe like over the course of 40 minutes.
And then also who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, it's also I think even the other Avengers were just like, this movie.
This
is
is kinda dumb.
But I think with Iron Man 3, the president of the United States being hung up on national television.
Pretty big deal.
With
their new good friend Tony's house being blown up by an international terrorist.
exactly, you have a dark elf in London, and then in Winter Soldier you have 30 billion people getting shot down in a second. So this is kind of the start of a wave of saying, where are the Avengers? And I think Ant-Man's the first one that addresses it by just saying, well, first we should call the Avengers.
Yeah.
So I think, but that's something that they're going to really start running into, especially as the worlds begin to develop and grow.
Yeah. Be like, why aren't the Guardians here? We're in space.
Yeah.
100%.
Thankfully, that hasn't really been a problem in Phase 3, though.
They've done a lot of good crossover, I think.
Yeah.
It's made the world feel really alive and connected, which is why I love Phase 3.
And there are real, genuine reasons why things are siloed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Wakanda, you understand why it's siloed. Guardians of the Galaxy, you understand why that's siloed. Thor, you understand why it's siloed. And in the worlds that they've built that are so big, you can understand, they can be in different places.
Sure.
And this is a huge universe.
Yeah.
But when
Each corner is
everything's
big
on
enough to hold the
when
story.
everything's on Earth, when it's like Hulk, Banner,
It's a little
Cap, you're
much,
like,
yeah. Where's everybody?
They could fly down there really quick.
Well, and speaking of expanding universe, I haven't given my super pump out yet. And the only thing I could think of in this whole movie is the after credit scene that is setting up Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's one of my favorite MCU movies. So
is
with
it
the
the
collector.
collector?
yeah. So
Yeah.
super pump is
So-
setting up one of my favorite other movies.
James Gunn actually came in to direct that post-credit
Yeah.
scene.
Oh, wow.
And the director of this movie, I can't remember his name.
Farterson.
Yeah, Farterson was really angry about that.
Really?
And said a lot of mean things about James Gunn and like was like throwing James Gunn under the bus.
Showed him.
He really jumped the
James on that one. And just as a reminder, this director's follow-up movie was Terminator Genesis, and James Gunn's follow-up movie was Guardians of the Galaxy. So yeah, James Gunn really doesn't know what he's doing, I guess. Other post-credit scene that's at the very, very end of this movie is Thor beams down on the Bifrost onto Jane's back patio.
Yeah.
We see from Jane, we see like a reaction shot on Jane. She looks out the window, gets excited. And then we cut to a brunette woman running to kiss Thor.
Yeah.
It's not actually Natalie Portman.
It's his wife.
Yeah, they couldn't get Natalie Portman back for those reshoots.
Wait,
that's Chris
really?
Hemsworth's actual wife.
That's why they were making out so hard.
Yep. Yep. Which is crazy to me that they shot so much of that scene and didn't include that one little shot in it and had to do that on a reshoot.
Yeah.
Maybe Chris Hemsworth wasn't there for that. He couldn't be there for the first part. Because
I think it was Natalie Portman playing Thor with a blonde wig from the back, and there was Natalie Portman's husband playing playing Jane with a brown wig, and then it was good.
It was good. Made more sense than this movie.
Love nothing more than to rate this movie and never talk about it again.
Cool.
Hit me with that scientific cinema scale.
So here's our scientific cinema scale. You know what it's about. We know what it's about. So let's just talk about it. The best thing we can say about a movie, everybody knows, is buy it. Don't lend it. Sorry. It's
own it.
Own it.
Whoa.
That's not science, Jordan.
That's
right.
magic.
Sorry, I was doing a magic cinema scale. Let me trash that. Let's talk about our scientific cinema scale now. Now, the best thing we can ever say about a movie is own it. Don't lend it.
Buy that poster.
The next best thing we can ever say about a movie,
Buy it.
Use your monies, use your bucks. The next best thing we can ever say about a movie,
Rent it.
Use a couple monies and bucks, but not a lot of monies and bucks, and own it for a brief period of time. The next best thing we can ever say about a movie is stream it. If your money's in bucks, I said stream. Let's move.
Did you say
past
stream?
I did. It's when you want to watch a movie, but it's too thick, so you stream it through a
Just
streamer.
stream it through like a filter. Yeah. Stream all the yucky
Parts out of the movie.
That's actually great. It's a pretty good synopsis of what streaming it
if
is.
you're already paying a couple of dollars and bucks for a streaming service, go ahead and watch it there if it's on there. But otherwise, don't spend any extra dollars and bucks.
No.
And then the second worst thing we can ever say about a movie is forget it. You're better off pretending this movie never happened. Finally, the worst thing we could ever say about a movie.
I'll take it. Let me take it.
Okay.
Odin has forsaken.
I knew you were going to do that. I'll go ahead and jump right in. Forget it. Next. No, really. Besides a couple of minor things, if you just made a short that was like, hey, Loki's pretending to be Odin, Guardians of the Galaxy is coming up soon, and Jane's out of the picture, I got everything I need from this movie. So I'm sticking with, I wish that I could say, like, if you're watching through the MCU for the first time, watch it. Other than that, forget it. So that's my answer.
Yeah.
Dang.
I'm also going to give this movie a Thor get it.
Nice.
It's just bad. It's so boring.
It is.
Like, it felt as though it was 4 hours long.
Dude, every 5 minutes, I would find myself being like, oh yeah, I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
Like, I could
kept on getting out of it.
not stay focused on this movie.
This is a bad movie.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a strain it.
Really?
Because, and this is just me, I would stream it. If it was on Netflix, I'd stream it and I'd fast forward a lot. I would literally strain
Just get to the good stuff.
I get to the good stuff.
2 scenes.
So I would,
What scenes would you watch?
I'd watch the middle.
Yeah. Walking through that hallway, I do like, so.
Well, as soon as Frigga dies. Actually, Frigga's fight scene's pretty cool too.
Yeah, it is cool.
So I would go as soon as Dark Elves. I would let them see the Dark Elves and who they are and all that trash. And then the Dark Elves taking over Thor or taking over Asgard. Frigga dying. Loki Thor team up all the way to the Dark World. Loki dies. I cut.
Yep.
To Loki on the throne at the end.
Yep.
So like a 35-minute short.
Yeah, it's
Even that.
It's a Disney short.
Yeah, I could handle all those scenes just being in the trailer for whatever the next thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, that's fair.
So
Yeah. For me, this was just
What a
not
bad,
even worth
bad
it.
movie.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just not good. This was DC levels.
it was. I thought I felt like I was watching a DC movie.
I did too.
Because there were so many times where I was like, "What? Who made that
Things
decision?"
are happening that look like a story, like on the surface, but ultimately there's nothing going on.
If you watch the movie on mute, you might be like, I bet this is really interesting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
But like,
You just see Loki with his hair all messed up, and you're like, "This is gonna be a good
it might
movie."
be crazy. I really think I really think this might be my least favorite one of the entire MCU. I think this might be the worst one.
Easily the very worst
Yeah, I
MCU
think
movie.
so.
I think the only one that would compete with this for that title is The Incredible Hulk. And
Or Thor 1.
I really enjoyed The Incredible Hulk. And I mean, Thor 1 was not great, but it was better than this.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. So anyway,
Yeah,
that was just, I've hated every moment of this.
You guys want to do some shouties?
But I loved recording with you guys. Because you're my friends. Yeah, let's do some shout outs.
Do some shout outs. I'm talking about Alda Armas and Nate Antioch in the Hizzy Dark World.
Someone say dark.
I'm going to give another quick shout out to Colton Kingston. Colton emailed us a super pump and a super dump. Colton's super pump for the Dark World was either the scene where Heimdall can sense the presence of the Dark Elves or...
Yeah.
Fair scene. Didn't know why that ship was moving so slow though. He
Yeah.
was like,
Don't know why two knives blew up an entire spaceship either, but that's fine.
And Colton's super dump was the fact that they did another fake death with Loki, which I know David has a personal problem with. Those fake deaths, man.
oh
They
my
just come back
goodness.
to bite you.
But here's the thing. I don't know if I said this. I'm okay if it's Loki.
Sure.
It makes
He's
sense
a
with
trickster.
Loki's character.
He's a
It doesn't make
sneaky boy.
sense when there are so many characters in the MCU that do it, and then
Yeah.
it makes Loki's not powerful. Let's get done with this movie. Okay.
Yeah, this is a bad movie.
It is.
And next week we get to talk about a really good movie.
Yes,
and
we
that's
do.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Make sure you tune in for that.
We're so very excited about that one. If you want to shout out on a future episode,
Yeah.
just tell us. Just hashtag official chunky.
Yeah.
Post on social media.
Make it happen.
Tag
Call
us on
us.
Instagram. Go to our website and write us an email.
Tell your friends, tell your enemies. You know what I'm saying?
Tell your moms.
Tell your moms. Oh, moms love us. Please tell your moms.
We're on AIM now. We just got an AIM account.
Yeah, well, it's a Pizza Parlor 90210. That's my actual AIM from.
I knew that was
sixth
your
grade.
actual one.
Really?
Pizza Parlor 90210. Shortly after, changed to. Oh, what did it change to?
Mine was weird and wacky forever. 100%.
Mine's worse, but still.
And then I forgot the password, so my next one was weird and wacky again.
Should have been 5 ever.
I wish I had you
Make
around.
a new one. Go make a new one right
don't
now.
we all?
I gotta make a few calls.
Anyway, that's it.
It's over.
So we'll see you next time for Captain America: Winter Soldier. Much love. Peace out. Well, the episode's over, but since you're still hanging out here, why don't we toss some information your way?
If you want to be the first to know when we drop new content, like us on Facebook at 2 Chunks and a Hunk. Subscribe to us on YouTube or subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts.
And if you want to shout out on our next podcast, then hashtag official chunky.
That's CHUNKY.
That's true. That's true. Well, we're done here, but I guess if you want to stay, I mean, we can just
Yeah, keep hanging out.
What was your favorite part of that movie that we just saw? Did you like it?
I bet they did. I bet they did.